Warning: this video contains documentary evidence about corruption in Oceanside sanitation that some viewers may feel uncomfortable with. Hello, my name is John Minoni, and I'm an elected official of a small independent special sanitary district in Oceanside, New York. This June marks another contested election for a new sanitation commissioner in Oceanside. On June 21st, we have a local election to replace the seat for the outgoing commissioner, Ed Schofberg. This election offers two new candidates that offer a major contrast between two political point of views in my community. On one side, we have Joe Sabellis, a former sanitation commissioner with close ties with a former local political boss. And on the other side is a local lawyer, Austin Graff, who actually sued Joe Sabellis and that boss to recover illegally paid money for the taxpayers. The taxpayer lawsuit has become a hot topic for both candidates. Mr. Sabellis, along with his fellow former Scalata supporter, Anthony Iovino, have publicly criticized Mr. Graff for the lawsuit. According to Sabellis, the lawsuit represents a waste of taxpayers' funds, and Mr. Graff has been characterized as a self-promoting would-be politician. As a commissioner who has fought against corruption and sat as a junior commissioner during Mr. Sabellis' chairmanship of the board, I'd like to present the other side of the story. I believe it's an important story and represents the truth behind the underbelly of personal and political associations that is the real cause of financial waste, not just merely in our district, but in local government in general. Accordingly, I'd like to present the taxpayer's side of the lawsuit, or what I'm calling the other side of the story, for your consideration. So let us start with the other side of the story. Mr. Iovino is incorrect. The taxpayer lawsuit saved us a lot of money. It has already saved us over $200,000 in eliminating a politically motivated consulting contract, and its impact could result in hundreds of thousands in recovered tax dollars in the near future. But the real issue confronting us in this election is whether should Oceanside claw back what was illegally gotten. I know that a lot of people that associate with Mr. Iovino and Mr. Sabellis have heard their side of the story so many times that what I'm saying might sound unbelievable. But the fact is, without the taxpayers' lawsuit and Mr. Graff's legal efforts, a political boss would still be running our community, collecting our money, and would have effectively walked away with nearly $1 million simply because he could. Well, I could start this story decades ago with the rise of Michael Scalata and how he and many others created a culture of corruption in our community. But for this discussion, let's start in December of 2014. In that month, the New York State Comptroller released an audit on Sanitation District Number 7 and found that the district paid out under a deferred compensation scheme about $800,000 to a local political boss, Michael Scalata, and his son. The comptroller went on to recommend that the district should immediately discontinue payments to the Scalatas and discuss with legal counsel the potential to recoup all or part of the payments already made. However, the board, under Chairman Sabellis, failed to take action based on the comptroller's audit. Instead, he backed his political boss. Fast forward a few months, in June of 2015, I was elected to the board based on a promise that I would recover the illegally paid money. At the first meeting in July, I drafted and put forth a resolution to comply with the controller's audit, which suspended Scalata with pay pending our district lawyer's review. The resolution was passed with the votes of Ed Schofberg and Tom Lanning. Sabellis voted against it. It was at this moment that the fight for real reform versus old school politics really took shape. By October of 2015, the district lawyer, Jared Kashow, the now Nassau County attorney, had finished his review and had given us a clear bill of health to terminate the consultant and move forward with the controller's recommendations. About a half an hour before the meeting, I spoke with Tom Lanning about his vote, and he reassured me that he remained committed to following through with his campaign promises. However, a short time later at that month's meeting, the question was put forth again, and Tom unexpectedly flipped. I asked Tom after the meeting what happened, and he apologetically informed me that the situation was too hot and he feared repercussions if he terminated the consultant. I had no doubt in my mind that Sibelius had gotten to him just before the meeting. By November, Scalata was continuing to get paid $75,000 a year, and Oceanside would never recover the money he was illegally given. For all purposes, Scalata had effectively won with a knockout. Then something remarkable happened that changed Oceanside's history of corruption for good. In November of 2015, two ordinary taxpayers, Joe Samole and Dennis Rockefeller, brought a lawsuit to have Scalata pay back the illegal gotten money. And they did something extraordinary. They held the commissioners responsible for the district's inaction. The lawyer representing the Oceanside taxpayers was Austin Graff. The pressure of that lawsuit caused the board to flip again. This time, Tom Lanning voted to permanently terminate Scalata's consulting contract. Sibelius again voted against it. In the end, Oceanside had, because of Austin Graff, directly saved us over $200,000 from the lawsuit. The irony is that after the lawsuit was filed, the district under Sibelius's leadership continued to fight the taxpayers, benefiting no one but him and his boss. In fact, Austin offered to settle by handing over the lawsuit to the district and going after Scalata, but Sibelius wanted to fight it. He cost us another $15,000 in his own personal legal fees fighting the lawsuit. It was not until after Sibelius's term ended that in April of 2017, the district was finally able to implement the 2014 recommendations of the New York State Comptroller and finally sued to recover the illegally paid funds. Today, there is a motion pending in the Supreme Court that if the district prevails, we will finally be able to recover about $600 of the $800,000 of the illegally paid money. A good part and thanks to two honest residents and a dedicated lawyer. I know a lot of people genuinely feel uncomfortable about pointing out the less than honorable motives of our fellow neighbors. And for most normal people, we could care less about the machinations of petty local politics. However, the truth is that our special sanitation district, taken together with our libraries, schools, and fire districts, receive tens of millions of dollars directly from us in property taxes in Oceanside each year. That is a lot of moolah, and we all must recognize that our tax bills are making it very hard to live here. With that much cash floating around, the temptation to control and manipulate the cash for illegitimate purposes is very powerful. It has been in the past, and it will again if we don't get serious about elections and our civic responsibilities, and we are willing to openly speak out against those who engage in misinformation. The taxpayer lawsuit, led by Austin Graff, has been a major anti-corruption milestone in our community. It has eliminated a powerful, corrupt political boss that ushered in an independent, accountable board for the taxpayers, saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in eliminating a wasteful consulting contract, and has aided towards the recovery of an inside politically motivated payouts. Let the corruption deniers like Mr. Iovino and Sibelius, who have dedicated years to serving a crooked political past, want you to believe that doing the right thing for everyone is a bad thing. Their spin is shameful. And I really am speechless, so I would like to have the late comedian George Carlin give the last word on this topic.
Because I got to tell you the truth, folks. I got to tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe.
Again, these videos require a lot of time and effort to produce. They contain a valuable message about our local government that directly impacts the lives of every person and our children living in Oceanside. The only compensation I receive for this effort is your feedback and the belief that people are thinking about these issues. If you support my efforts, please like, click, and share.